If you ever go digging through the game files of Red Dead Redemption 2, you might stumble on something kind of odd. There's this entry sitting there with all the animals. It's called AC River Monster 01. Sounds like it should be a creature, right? Like a bear or a panther or something lurking in the water. But the weird part is that this thing doesn't show up by itself anywhere in the game. You won't run into it while exploring. There's no mission that mentions it, no location tied to it. It's just in the code. And yet, Rockstar gave it a full tag. That usually means it was planned. At some point during development, this thing was real enough to have a name. But then, nothing. No model, no textures, no river monster. Just a label that feels like a leftover from something that was never finished. Which raises the question, what exactly was Rockstar building here? And why'd they leave it behind? It was supposed to be something big. So yeah, the model's not there, but the sound? That's still in the files. It's called River Monster, and if you listen to it, it's strange. It doesn't sound like any regular animal from the game. There's this deep foghorn-like tone, mixed with something that kind of growls underneath. It's hard to tell if it's supposed to be mechanical or organic, maybe both. Some players have said it reminds them of the tripods from War of the Worlds. That low, heavy sound that sort of rattles your chest. And yeah, it's got a bit of that same feeling. But there's no clear reason why it's there. It's just sitting in the files, like a leftover. Or maybe a clue. Whatever it was meant for, someone took the time to design it. And honestly, it doesn't sound like something you'd want to run into. What's also interesting is that this thing wasn't set up like a regular animal. If you look at the code tied to the river monster, it couldn't be picked up or skinned, but it could be looted. That's not how most wildlife in the game works. And the loot? Crustacean meat, which is odd. There's no crab model linked to it. No aquatic enemy like that in the game. Just that specific drop. The only other animal that behaves the same way is the lion. The one from the Stranger Mission He's British, of course, Part 4. You track it down. It can't be skinned either, but you can loot it, and it drops a paw. That's not a normal spawn. That's a one-time NPC built just for that mission. And here's another thing. Some of the river monster's sound files are reused from the lion. Same roar, same audio behavior. So whatever this thing was, it probably wasn't just another random animal. It sounds more like it was meant for a specific encounter, something scripted, something you'd only see once. So if you remember that Circus Stranger mission,
a fantastic, elusive zebra from the plains of Ongo Bongo by the shores of the Limpopo, and a magnificent lion from the grasslands of Tanganyika.
Yeah, I see your problem. They're pretty hard to come by around here.
The one with the runaway animals, it had you tracking down a zebra, a tiger, and eventually a lion. That mission is still in the game. You can play through the whole thing, but there's one animal that never shows up, the camel. The camel's mentioned in the files. It's even on one of the cigarette cards. But in the actual game, nowhere. It just doesn't appear. And that's led a lot of players to believe it was planned for the same mission, but got cut somewhere along the way. And the river monster might have followed the same path. Not just some random thing that got scrapped early, but part of a stranger mission that didn't make it into the final build. A one-off event, probably with its own weird setup that was just left behind. So if the only sign of the camel was on a cigarette card, what about the river monster? Turns out there are a few cards in the game that show sea creatures. 3 specifically. The schooner card shows a tentacle rising up behind a boat, definitely a Kraken reference. The Balliner whaling vessel card has this massive whale, and then there's the US frigate card, and that one's different. Instead of a deep sea creature, it shows something long-necked off in the distance. Looks a lot like the classic Loch Ness monster design, and more importantly, that one's in fresh water, which lines up exactly with what a river monster would be. It's subtle, but if you're looking for a visual hint of what Rockstar had in mind, this might be it. The PED model for the river monster was never finished, and as far as anyone can tell, there's no scripted mission tied to it either. So, yeah, maybe it just didn't fit the tone. Even with all the weird stuff Red Dead throws in, the robots, the UFOs, the time traveler, this one might have pushed it too far. Stranger missions are usually where Rockstar plays around with the strange and unexpected, but this one, maybe it crossed a line, or maybe it just didn't work the way they wanted. Either way, it got shelved. Quietly. No big traces, just some pieces left in the code. The other odd thing about the river monster is there's no location data tied to it. No respawn point, no map reference, nothing. Most cut content usually leaves some sort of footprint, a leftover marker or a trigger zone, something. But with this, nothing at all. And with how many rivers and swamps there are in the game, it's impossible to tell where it was meant to show up, if anywhere. The lack of detail probably says a lot. This might have been cut before it ever got placed in the world, just a concept that never made it out of the back end. So here's what we're left with. A file name, a strange audio clip, a crustacean loot drop that doesn't match anything in the game, and a cigarette card that might be more than just art. That's it. No mission, no model, no clear explanation. But somehow, it's enough. It's not just a cut monster. It feels like a part of a story Rockstar started, then backed away from. And honestly, that makes it more unsettling than if it had actually made it into the game. Even if it never showed up in the worlds, the river monster hasn't completely disappeared. It's still there. In the code, in the files, in the stuff players dig through years after release. Maybe it was supposed to rise out of the water. Maybe it was meant to vanish just as you spotted it. Or maybe it was nothing serious at all. There's no way to know for sure, but that's kind of the point. The trace is still there, and for a game like this, sometimes a leftover's more powerful than a reveal. So next time you're out fishing in Red Dead, maybe turn the volume up, just in case.